Welcome to Straight Outta Savannah, where the magic happens. My guest, Moni Castaneda, is here to tell you who she is, what she does, and how he can help you. Moni, take it away.
Hey, Tammy, thank you for having me. My name is Moni Castaneda, and I'm a consultant, speaker, and author. Help people turn their current homes into dream homes where they can be happy, healthy, and successful. The result of working with me is a life you love in a home that makes you proud. I studied architecture in my native country, which is Ecuador. And right after I graduated, I moved to the United States. In the United States, I found out I would not be able to use my degree because there's no agreements between the universities and our universities here. And so I had spent so many years studying a career, and all of a sudden it's not going to be good for practicing. A friend told me, why don't you look into Feng Shui? Because it's a related career. And I did, and I fell in love immediately. And I tried to get my hands on all the material I could. But the thing that didn't seem right to me is that when I looked at examples of feng shui in East Asia, like in China, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, the results were beautiful. But when I went to the homes of people back then I lived in Mississippi. And so people would invite me to their homes where they said, oh, I hire a feng shui consultant. And their homes didn't look good. They look strange. And in my mind, if you're going to apply something that is supposed to add a harmony and beauty to your home, when people should go, wow, I started studying feng shui and researching and figuring out how could I find that sweet spot that I was still true to the ancient knowledge, but things would look good in our modern Western homes. And in doing that, I developed a system to practice feng shui, which is called the 9 Steps to Feng Shui System, which if you apply from beginning to end, you end up with that life you love in a home that makes you proud.
Wow. For people like me, explain what feng shui is.
Yeah, that you got to start with the basics, right? Feng Shui is the ancient East Asian art of placement that teaches you what to put where and in what color, shapes, and materials so you can be happy, healthy, and successful. So you can be more relaxed, get along with others better, and be more productive. So have a happier life, right? And so it is based in the same principles as Tai Chi, Qigong, martial arts, acupuncture, Chinese massage, so many different arts. And actually, Feng Shui is one of the branches of ancient East Asian medicine. If practiced correctly, right? There's a lot of superstitions in modern times. Some traditional schools use the compass, magnetic directions, and the astrological calculations to tell you, okay, because you were born in this year, this wall needs to be yellow and that other wall needs to be red. It doesn't matter what you like. They just tell you according to the compass directions and your astrology. I didn't believe in that. I wanted to do something people love that made them feel good, that would nurture them. And so that's why I have spent almost 30 years researching Feng Shui, and I have been teaching Feng Shui for the last 20 years. And so the idea is that there are certain rules that you follow, certain principles of healing that you follow, and the result is a home that works for you instead of working against you. Because for a lot of people, especially moms, they tell me all the time that they feel like home is an extra child. Yes. Every 5 minutes needs something. Mommy over here and vacuum over here and time to do the dishes, time to cook. And they feel drained and they're thinking, I'm going to go home and do this and that, be productive, clean up, cook. And when they get home, they feel fatigued and don't do anything. That's a sign something's wrong with the home. Because if you apply these principles of healing to your home, starts working for you. And it's like you can put your home nurtures you instead of draining you.
I moved out of a space that felt like it was draining the life out of me. We moved out. We moved 3 hours away from where we lived. Like, where we are now is on the end of the earth, is what we said. It's literally, I live 3 minutes from the ocean. I can drive 3 minutes or walk 10 minutes and I'm at the ocean.
That's fabulous.
It is wonderful, but it's needed.
So many good things come from the ocean, those negative ions and this overwhelming almost sense of abundance, right? It's an infinite abundance that you feel from the water.
Yes, it is. It's just amazing. But I could feel when we were in this other place now, we were in this little tiny apartment. And okay, I'm going to say tiny because that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
About 1,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, upstairs and downstairs, and no closet space wasn't worth a damn. So hardly no closet space and all of this. And we came from about 2,000 square feet. So we downsized. Once we got close to the end, we stayed there almost 5 years. And so once we got almost close to the end was when I started really freaking out. I started really having panic attacks, really, I believe.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. I said, my husband, is this place? Because it's in the city, noise, sirens, shots. As soon as I got here, small town, 9,000 people, everybody's nice and kind and half retired. It was real peaceful. My whole nervous system relaxed as soon as I got here. Before we moved anything into the house, I started feeling like weights were off my shoulders.
People have an internal energy that comes with them. You have to find a home that matches that energy. If your internal world feels like a parade, you need to have a very calm outer environment. And for a person that inside is a little too calm, you need a more active environment. That's where choices come when you're choosing where to live, whether in the city, in the suburbs, or in the country. It depends not so much on what you visualize that your ideal is or what you should do or where you should live, but the internal needs that you have. I have had clients that they build their dream home in places where it was like no neighbors, right? Because they thought their ideal neighbors were no neighbors. And so they built a home in the country, mountains. A couple of years later, they felt terribly isolated. And then, okay, we need people. That depends on what the person is like, what they need in their stage in life. Because for some, it's paradise to be in a place that's completely quiet, it's total peace. And for another person, that's hell because they want the activity, they want to open their door and walk to the coffee shop, things like that.
Does feng shui and cartography work together in any way?
There's a branch of Feng Shui that, as I was saying, uses the compass direction, and they will tell you, depending on the year you were born, your home should face a certain direction. But it's more about topography with Feng Shui. For example, depending on where you live and how close you are to the equator, you choose where to settle or where to build a home, right? So China, where this Feng Shui started, is in the northern hemisphere. And they get really brutal winters.
Okay.
And so the first Feng Shui masters, they advised that your home should face the south. Your front door should face the south. So you would have a warm entrance. And behind the house at the north, you were to have a mountain or a hill to protect you from cold wind. They also had rules about mountain ranges on the side. So they were looking after a mountain range formation that was like an armchair so that you would have open spaces in front of you, a protection at the back, and lower protections on the sides. If you go to Australia, that's different. I have clients and students from Australia. For them, the south of the home is the cold, and the north is the hot because they're below the equator. I come from Ecuador, so the rules of sun exposure and exposure to winds, that all changes. So Feng Shui is more about adapting to your natural environment so you can live in harmony with your environment.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So not really, because so many people I've had conversations with feel like feng shui is, instead of adapting you to your environment, adapting your environment to you. And that's not what it is.
Well, it is. Feng Shui is about creating in your home the circumstances and components that in the natural world will create an ideal set, right? People were born to be in contact with nature. People were not born to be disconnected from nature. And when Feng Shui first started, people lived in the country. But at some point, when there was like a urban explosion in China and cities started to grow really big. And then you couldn't give every single person an ideal location in the country, like having an open space in front of you and a calm stream or river, and then the mountain behind you and the hills next to you. When you live in a city, you can't choose one branch of Feng Shui, decided, okay, so we're going to do everything through astrology now. We're going to look for heaven luck instead of earth luck. And the other branch said people were not made to live in little boxes. We need to bring nature into the home to create a thriving environment. For example, we were not meant to have rooms with no windows. If you lived in a city apartment, bathrooms and kitchens don't have windows unless you are super rich. They'll reserve the windows for the living room and for the bedrooms, and the kitchens often don't have windows, bathrooms don't have windows. But that makes us feel disconnected. But our minds are easy to trick, right? So, for example, if you have a kitchen where you don't have a window, you can add an image of a view and your brain feels like things are fine, not trapped, because you can see an image of nature, even though consciously it's an image, your body feels immediate relaxation. It's both adapting yourself to the environment and adapting the environment to you. So there's certain conditions for health. There's certain principles of healing that you use in acupuncture, medical qigong, and Chinese massage, and all these therapeutic practices. Those same principles can be used in the home, right? So, for example, you know that since you're a healer, right? When you're working on a person, you want that person to be whole. You want to restore them to wholeness, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing with the home. You want to give the person a sense of wholeness. And sometimes if you live in a home that is not a square or a rectangle, you get a feeling of being fragmented. If you have a home that has a very irregular shape, right? But you do things on the outside and inside, it feels complete and whole. When a home feels fragmented, the person is always making excuses. They're saying it's like the if-when syndrome. When this thing happens, I'll do this other thing. If this thing happens in my life, then I'm going to be able to do this other thing. We want to move people from the life of excuses to a life of strategy. Another thing that happens in the call, we're having a little bit of a conversation before we started recording, and you were mentioning family drama. Like having a big family, something is always happening because there are all the cousins, first and second, and everybody has a family. So there's always some kind of drama going on. But there are things in your home that can lead you to lead a life of drama. And that's what in Feng Shui and in Chinese medicine is called excesses and deficiencies. So anything that you would describe as too much or too little. For example, did you ever live in a home that had a long and narrow hallway? Did you ever visit a home that had a long and narrow hallway?
Yeah.
And so that is a case where you have both an excess and a deficiency. So you have an excess of length, it's too long. Then you have a deficiency, you have a lack of width. You feel constricted in a hall. We do things so the hallway doesn't seem so long, and then we do other things so that the hallway seems wider. So in our Western culture, a lot of people put a mirror at the end of the hallways. What does that do? That makes the hallway twice as long. And so one day I was doing a consultation for this lady, and she had a long and narrow hallway, and she had put a mirror at the end. I asked her, do you feel like everything that you want to do takes longer than you expected and takes a lot more work than you thought it was going to take? And she started crying and said, that is the story of my life. A hallway represents a path. A mirror at the end of the hallway, you double it. You make it twice as long as it is. And so in Feng Shui, instead, we put something bright at the end to make it seem like the hallway is closer. And instead of putting that mirror at the end of the hallway, you put a mirror on the side. And a mirror on the side of the hallway makes it feel twice as wide. That is the principle of yin and yang and qi, the life force. In Feng Shui, we want you to open your door and have a lot of positive energy come into the home, then visit every room in the home in a gentle manner so every room gets vitalized. But that sometimes doesn't happen. For example, if you open the door and the first thing is the staircase going up, that's not very welcoming. And it means work, right? If you open the door, Staircases, even if it's a beautiful staircase, is not inviting. And now you're thinking about doing work going up the stairs. And so if you live in a home like that, you are likely to be constantly fatigued because your first impression of your home is I open the door and I have to do work. And then say, for example, that you park your car in the garage and you don't come in through the front door, you come in through the side door. The first thing is a laundry room. And then you're going to feel like you're constantly having to do housework because the first thing you see is a reminder of housework. The first thing determines how you perceive the home. You don't want to leave that to randomity. You have to control what. One of my clients has a beautiful entrance, but she comes in through the garage and sees a wall. That feels like a dead end. Then she goes to a big box store and she has 2 large dogs, right? So she buys these humongous bags of food and was putting those bags of food right on that wall. As soon as she opened the door, there's the food. She told me sometimes she felt irritated to take care of the dogs, even though she loved them to death. Every time she came home, I was like, oh, I have to walk the dogs. And then she was starting to get this feeling that whenever she comes home, it's just work and just having to do things for others and never having time for herself. That's how the home affects us, right? The first thing when you come home needs to be something that tells you, hey, you are doing well. You're doing fantastic. You're being successful. You can afford things. You have great taste. You want your home to tell you good things. And that's just 3 of the principles, right? And there's 9 principles of healing. And each of those corresponds to one of the 9 steps to Feng Shui. So literally, if you apply the 9 steps to Feng Shui from beginning to end to a home, when you are done, you have a dream.
That is so, that's powerful because I never heard it like this. When I started looking at your page, I was like,
This is different.
this is so not what I expected. Expecting you now because I looked at your page. But just thinking about Feng Shui is like, because people actually said that to me before, and I was like, I really don't understand what that is.
Well, people make it so complicated. And the beef I have with that is they make it fear-based. In Compass School, they take your date of birth and do a calculation, and it's different if you're male or female. And then they split your floor plan into a pie, and it has 8 slices, right? And they tell you 4 directions according to the year you were born. These are the 4 directions that are good for you. And these other 4 directions are bad for you. See, in so many things that were just crazy. I had a student that she had hired a Feng Shui consultant, and the Feng Shui consultant told her, in your living room, only this corner of the sofa is in a positive direction for you. And the rest of your sofa is in a negative direction for you. So she would go like to sit down to watch that. And she would like scoot over to the little bit of the sofa that was in a good direction for her. And then she was afraid to even move her hand outside of that place. It's not being afraid of her sofa. That's no way to live. No, I don't do fear-based Feng Shui. I do everything with love and above love energy. So you love your home's gonna love you back. If you arrange your home in ways that are beautiful, that everywhere you look, you see something you really love, you're gonna be a happier person. If your home is well maintained, like if your drawers in your kitchen open and close smoothly, you're gonna be in a good humor. But if your drawers get stuck, you're gonna be irritable, right? The more irritable you are, the more you're gonna argue with people. If every time you open the door is gonna make that squeaky noise like you're in the Addams Family house, that's gonna make you irritable. Your nervous system is gonna respond to that. And then you're not gonna be as nice to your family members. You're not gonna be as nice to yourself. The home influences. All the things in your home are talking to you, and you gotta make sure they have nice things to say.
that is, how did you get there? What was your other life like before you became this Feng Shui extraordinaire?
Yeah, I studied architecture. And in Ecuador, architecture is 6.5 years.
Oh,
And yeah, and it took me a little longer because I was working to support myself and had some health situations. When I graduated, I had put so much energy into architecture, but then I moved to the United States and I couldn't practice. Given with my degree, I felt like I could design places people would love. They would be like, oh, this is so beautiful and so functional. But I didn't know how to design a place where people could be happy. When I found Feng Shui, I was like, oh, all the things that I was missing in the School of Architecture are in Feng Shui. Now I know how to design a place so that people can be happy. And that is super important. And so even when my husband and I, when we first got married, we were living in a tiny apartment. It was like a 1-bedroom apartment. Then we bought a house. And we bought the house like on the floor plans. So we were able to make some changes. And I was like, okay, this house is going to work really well. And then came time to decorate the house. And I was following my teachings, right? So most architects in our modern time, they're minimalists. And so I had this training of these ideas, what was stylish, what was elegant, and what was tacky and cheap. And so I decorated my home to be elegant and minimalist. Subdued colors, very pretty. Then I was extremely unhappy because that's not what I liked. I wanted color. It's shiny, beautiful things, to be surrounded by things that make my heart sing. And that's not what I was taught. I was taught to be elegant and sophisticated, but that's not what my soul wanted. Today, after many years, I know I can help a person design a place that is really elegant and that also makes their heart sing. And what people love is going to change from culture to culture and is going to change from generation to generation. And sometimes people need things. So one of the things that happened, right? So we built that home, then we sold that home because we moved to Iowa. My husband studied chiropractic in Iowa. Then we moved to Tennessee. And so again, while we were in Tennessee, in Iowa, we had 2 cats. And everybody that was renting homes wanted to get the cats declawed. And we didn't want to do that. So we bought a trailer. For 5 years that my husband was going to school, we lived in a single wide trailer. And that's where I refined my method because it feels like living in a bus. I had to figure out how to make the place feel more balanced, more harmonious so we could have a good life there. So that was 5 years. Then we came to Knoxville, Tennessee, and we bought this house. And the people who lived here before were a couple that the house was 8 years old, but it still looked new. Like there wasn't a single speck on the carpet. Everything was new, right? It's like time hadn't passed. We still had the contractor gray carpet, floor to floor carpets, right? And so here I go again, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what my architectural training taught me. Subdued, elegant, minimalistic. I decorated the whole house. And then winter hit. Iowa has cold winters, but also a lot of sunshine. You might get snow for 3 days and then 2 weeks of sunshine. In Tennessee, you could have 2 weeks where you don't see the sun. It gets a lot cloudy. You don't have as much sunshine. I started to get sad in the winter. And I was like, I'm going to die with this color. I'm not what I want. So I started adding color to my walls. And I saw that didn't happen in the winter anymore. It was the neutral colors and the uninteresting decor that was making me feel so sad in the winter. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to try to add more color. In the beginning, I went a little too far because I had to repaint a couple of walls. So I was trying to find a sweet spot for me, that it was still pretty, that it would still look elegant, it would make my heart sing, like I said before. Yeah. So then I started experimenting with more colors, with different kinds of furniture. And if my heart wanted red, I got red. And if my heart wanted shiny, I get shiny. Because that's another thing. Like when you train as a modern architect, your teachers, they teach you to avoid things that are shiny. Because it's been colors, sounds like. Because it's considered tacky, right? And I was like, I want to see bright things. I want to see shiny things. And so one of the things that I do is when I work with clients, I help them develop their own sense of style. Because they're a person that is very sure in their taste and they already have a sense of style. I'm going to work with what they like. I'm going to work with what they love. Never going to make a suggestion that they use a color they don't like. And the results, if you go to my website, which is 9stepstofengshui.com or spacearrangement.com, you can see before and after photos of ordinary people, regular people like you that have turned their homes from not interesting to just gorgeous by following the 9 steps to Feng Shui system. And here's another thing. When I first started studying Feng Shui and I was following people who did Feng Shui, it was all mansions. Like on the books, the before and afters, it was all super expensive homes. And I was like, not everybody is going to be a millionaire. Just regular people. So how can you help a person that is just an ordinary person turn their home from a place that is not making them happy to a place they absolutely love, living the life they want? You can see the transformation. In some places, they don't even look like the same place. You're going to see so many different styles because I have had clients that they want subdued colors, that they want things to be calm and elegant, and they did it in that way. And I have other clients who are artists, for example, and they wanted different things. They wanted bright colors. Sometimes clients, they want something so bright that I'm like, I don't know if I can help you with that. But we make it work. It's about what my clients like and what's going to make them happy.
Yes. You see the connection between the feng shui and what will make them happy in all the areas of their life.
Yes. So when you do things, for example, when you do something like acupuncture or medical qigong, your objective is the health of the person.
Yes.
For the person to help. But when you're doing feng shui, your objective is happiness, because happiness is the health of the home. Its purpose is to produce happiness. And I kind of wish now, looking back, I wish that 20 years ago when I started asking my clients for before and after photos, I wish I had taken photos of them before and after. Most of my clients and most of my students, when they have gone through the process, they look a lot more attractive. Because it's that attractiveness that comes from finding their style. Because the same thing that happens with finding what kind of sofa they want, what kind of pillows they want on the sofa, what kind of a rug, what kind of a curtains, that also transfers to their image. They change their hairdo, hair color, they change the way they do their makeup, they change the way they dress, and this just all happens naturally. When the home is working for them, it's easier for them to think about, okay, what do I want? What do I need?
That's powerful just because when you think about the fact that your home could be the difference in your success.
Definitely, yes. Yeah. And there's so many coaches today that they're finding they can coach you like for months or years. If you don't change your environment, it doesn't stick. For example, health coaching with nutrition and exercise, they found that if the person doesn't change things in their kitchen, if they don't change things around in their dining room, if they have a home gym, if they don't redesign their home gym, things don't stick. The habits don't become permanent.
Reminds me of rehab. I used to work in a rehab place.
Yeah.
Rubbing alcohol. They aim that 3 or 4 days for opioid, a week for alcohol. That's all the insurance would pay.
Wow.
And what happened a lot of times is we'll get those same people back the next month. Especially in the winter months in Arizona. It'd be cold out there outdoors. And notice if they go back to the same people, the same areas, we can get them back the next month.
So if you don't change the environment, you go back to those habits. You can go on a retreat, have a chef prepare food for you, and you go, you wake up in the morning and you eat with a group of people that have the same purpose as you, and you feel satisfied. Then you go back home and you're by yourself or with your family members. You go back to the same habits, to the same programming. So to change your programming, you have to change your spaces. There's no other way.
Yes. Okay, we're going to land this place.
You can invite me
I
back.
could talk to you for hours, but because this is such an amazing topic, and I know there are people in my audience like me. Like I had no idea what feng shui. People would tell me, and because I'm in Reiki and do all the different healing things and all this stuff, people think all these things. And I'm like, no, I haven't studied that. I don't really know what that is. But for me, it's a whole level of people pleasing because you don't know, but you don't ask. So that's how I asked you that in the beginning. Tell the people because everybody doesn't know. And the importance of it and how it can help you with all of your life. That's the
The
thing.
comment is never neutral. It's either helping you or it's holding you back.
Yes.
That's it.
All right. I have one last question I ask all of my guests.
Okay.
If there was anything in the world you could change, what would that be and why?
If I had a magic wand, I would change the relationship people have with their homes because peace starts at home. If your home nurtures you and it helps you feel loved, then there's going to be peace in your heart. There's going to be peace in your family. You're going to be at peace with your neighbors, your city, your nation. So it starts with your heart, and your heart is nourished by the home.
I love that. And that is something we need.
Yes,
Something I haven't heard before.
really.
That answer was they would change themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
I got
the thing about Feng Shui is that Feng Shui is perhaps the only healing modality that works from the outside in. All other healing modalities work from the inside out. But Feng Shui works from the outside in.
which is amazing because it's going to help you all the way around. On my computer, it said cold weather. I haven't been outside. It felt cold in here, so I thought I would just stay in here.
Yeah, it's very cold over here too.
Oh my God, it's loud. What is going on? Okay, let people know if you have anything going on, filming anything.
Go to my website, 9stepstofengshui.com. If you don't know how to spell Feng Shui, which is the case for a lot of people, just do spacearrangement.com, no spaces, spacearrangement.com, and that's going to redirect to 9stepstofengshui.com. And check out the menu. Check out everything in the menu. I have my assessment of the Year of the Fire Horse, an online community. You can join at no cost, start learning Feng Shui, and make friends interested in alternative ways of living. We may not have a community around friends and family. Maybe you feel alone, so come meet people interested in the same things. There's a guide on my website on things you can start doing to improve your home and your life. Absolutely free.
That is so cool. All of those details will be in the show notes. So just click on go. That is phenomenal. I have enjoyed this so much. Now to do my Abraham Hicks, I have enjoyed this interaction immensely.
Me too.
Just been so much fun and just learning all about feng shui. For those of you like me, dig in, check her out, join her free community, and see what she has.
Almost 30 years there, for 20 years teaching. I also teach people to become consultants.
That is so powerful.
Come over.
So awesome. I didn't know that was a thing. Definitely check her out. I appreciate you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for
Fun.
me. It's been great.
I mean, you're so welcome. I think your post was the one that I saw about.
The Year of the Fire Horse, which is a
Yes,
part of Chinese astrology, and I do every year an analysis, and I've been nailing it so accurately for the last several years.
Yes.
What I do is, okay, this is what the year is going to be like, and here's how you navigate it.
Where do you post that?
If you go to my website, 9stepstofengshui.com or spacearrangement.com, you're going to see a little horse emoticon. So you just click on that and you're going to see the whole page with all the information. There's also a video you can watch if you're more of a video watcher than a reader. So it's all there.
All right. For joining us on Straight Outta Savannah with
Thank
Magic
you,
Hour.
Tammy.
This has been an awesome conversation. I got so much out of it and can't wait to watch it again. When I edit on, I'll watch it again.
Yeah, awesome.
So I can't wait to do that. And it's just so much fun for me to get in these conversations with like-minded people and people that I can geek out with. So I'm super excited about it. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. You just finished watching Moni Castaneda, and she was a wealth of knowledge where Feng Shui is concerned. So if that is something, if you are like me and you just had no idea that was even a whole thing, she teaches Feng Shui practitioners and helps to train people in Feng Shui and actually helps to tell you exactly what it is, which was something that I just really didn't know. I knew that it had to do with things being in the right place, but I had no idea the magnitude and the depth of it and how it affects other areas of life. I'm just so grateful, and I hope that you were able to get something out of it as well. I am planning to watch it again and take some notes because I took a few notes, but not as many as I would have liked to, because this was such a great share. Follow her. I'll put her details in the show notes. Follow me, download this episode, and help us push it out. Share it out to more people so that people can get this information and be able to connect with Sister Moni. Thank you so much. You can connect with me and my stand store at Intuitive Tammy. You can find free offerings as well as some of my paid offerings. My membership, Remember Who the Fuck You Are, is there as well. I also have a mini course on intuition that is fire. So you can grab that and jump in there on that course. For those of you that don't know or haven't done courses with me, I do not do them super long because I don't want it to be something that lives in your inbox. I want it to be something that you use, something that's going to help you to move forward in that area. I also have a Manifest Your Soulmate bundle that is an activation as well as a workbook. And it's not super long, so it's just enough so you can get in there and be able to start doing this work so that you can manifest the love that you are looking for. So again, thank you so much for watching Straight Outta Savannah. Thank you for the downloads. Thank you for subscribing where you are. And I hope that your day is magical.